Hello everyone, this week's parasha is Parashat VaYegash. This week I would like to talk with you about leadership. In the past few weeks, we have met a few potential leaders out of the 12 tribes. We met Reuven, the firstborn of Yaakov. We met Yehuda, who is not the firstborn of anyone, but he has a leader's personality. When he says things, the brothers listen to him. And we meet Yosef, who is Yaakov's favorite, and Rachel's firstborn. Next week, when we read in Parashat Vayechi, we hear from Yaakov, when he's blessing his children, that he is picking Yehuda as the leader of the tribes. He tells him that all the kings will come from him, that this is his destiny, is to rule. And the question is, why are the other two, or all the rest, overlooked, but specifically Reuven and Yosef? Now, when we look at Reuven's personality, we hear about him that whenever he is in some sort of trouble situation, he has sort of an impulsive reaction to the way he behaves, which means when Yaakov refuses to let Binyamin go down to Egypt because he does not want Binyamin also to die, Reuven's response to him is, if I don't bring him back, you can kill both of my children. And you can imagine Yaakov rolling his eyes back and saying, do you think that's what I want? I will have lost another son and I should also kill 2 grandchildren. That is not what I'm looking for. Reuven doesn't have inside of him a lot of this leadership. He makes mistake after mistake. He doesn't own up to them. So Reuven is not really going to be the leader. We hear this when Yaakov is talking with him later on, next parsha. He says, Reuven pachaz kamayim, you're like rushing water. You don't stop. You don't think about it. Breathe. Relax. Okay? Your responses are wrong. Yehuda and Yosef are the 2 main characters of this parsha. And we hear in the way that they talk to each other in the beginning, some is in the Torah, some is from commentaries, but the conversations that go on between them. Yosef is holding Binyamin right now as captive and says, all the rest of you are free to go. He is going to be my slave. And Yehuda is coming to beg for his life. And he says, like, you're like Paro. The commentaries say, just like I'm going to kill Paro, I'm going to kill you as well. There's nothing that's going to stop me from bringing him back. Very, very, very harsh things from the commentaries, from Yehuda to Yosef. But when you look at these 2 personalities, when we look at who's fit to rule, Yosef is already ruling. He's ruling all of Egypt. He's ruling basically the whole known world. And Yaakov overlooks him for ruling the Jewish people. Yaakov says Yehuda should rule. And the question is, why? When we're looking at these 2 powerful personalities. So let's get a bit into Yosef. Yosef is referred to as Yosef the tzaddik. Yosef the righteous person. Yosef the one who stands in front of temptation and is able to overcome it. Yosef who supposedly doesn't have these challenges. Yosef who's above all of it. Yosef who is the righteous man. Potiphar's wife tries to seduce him time and time again, and he doesn't listen. And he's able to overcome it, and with overcoming it, he's able to be this personality of Yosef HaTzadik. He's non-relatable. He's a person that's hard for people to follow. And you can see this when he's telling his brothers his dreams. You see how much he doesn't understand the people. How much he doesn't get it. He's on a different plane. He's so much more spiritual than they are. He's getting dreams as prophecies, And he's looking at them and he's saying, look, guys, I have a prophecy that I'm going to be superior in every manner. And they want to kill him. And he doesn't get it, and he comes and tells them the second dream. Yosef is on such a different level. How can someone like that rule? How can someone like that be a ruler of the people? Yehuda, on the other hand, Yehuda makes mistakes. Yehuda makes mistakes. He goes after they sell Yosef, the story right afterwards has seemingly nothing to do with anything else. It says Yehuda leaves. There's something he's struggling with. He gives up kind of on everything. His wife dies, his children just died, and he's kind of giving up on life. And he leaves his brothers. Maybe he's no longer going to be part of the tribes in his mind. And he goes down. He sees a prostitute who turns out to be his daughter-in-law, who is just disguising and trying to trick him. And when he sleeps with her and gets her pregnant, suddenly he becomes this righteous person again, and she is to blame, right? His daughter-in-law, who was supposed to be waiting for his third son, had slept with another man. She should be taken out and be burnt. And he says, take her out and burn her. And all she says is, I got pregnant to the man who this belongs to, the things that he left by her. And she says, do you recognize them? And he could have easily said no. And from the sound of the way she's asking things, it doesn't seem like she was going to throw him under the bus. And he says 2 words, Tzadka mimeni. She was right. I'm wrong. And that's it. At this moment, Yehuda recognizes and acknowledges that he did wrong. He made a mistake. She did not. Done. She was right. I should have given her my third child. I did not. Okay? I'm wrong. Yehuda owns up to his mistakes. He's not perfect, but he's human. And he does exactly what we're supposed to do. He works on himself. He constantly tries to improve. And when he makes a mistake, he owns up to it. The first king from his descendants, King David, Hamelech David, is also not perfect. He also makes a mistake, a big mistake. He sleeps with a married woman. He sleeps with a married woman that he wants, and he tries to find different ways. You know, the commentaries in the Gemara try to find different ways to justify how such a person can do it. But when he's confronted by the prophet, who comes and says, "What have you done?" he does not try to give excuses, as King Shaul did before him. Shaul loses the kingdom for a much smaller sin because he keeps on blaming everyone else. And Melech David, King David, does not. King David's descendants and Mashiach will come from King David. That's how powerful this is. He does not lose the kingdom, because as soon as he's approached by the prophet and he is told what he has done that was wrong, he says, Chatati laHashem. I have sinned to God. I realize it. I have made a mistake. I'm not pretending that it didn't happen. And I accept the consequence. Yaakov is looking at his children and he says, who should be the one to rule? And he says, I want Yehuda. Yehuda, the child who's not perfect, who leads all of the children down to Egypt by selling Yosef. And he makes constant mistake after mistake. He is a dominant personality who's making mistakes, and those mistakes have consequences, but he owns up to them. That's what we want from leaders. We don't want them to be perfect. In this day and age, especially in this day and age, where they dig up dirt on any single person who wants to get into politics and say, look, he's not perfect, he's not fit to run, is a very, very big problem. Because when all you're looking for is someone with no personality to run a country, to run the world, to run people, to lead in any way, if you're looking for someone who will do nothing because he has no personality, then where are we going to advance? How are we ever going to get better? When you have a person who will stand up and he has things that he's done that were wrong in the past, but he's owned up to them, he's atoned for them, he's changed, he's come, he's made a process, that's someone I can believe. I'm still waiting for the politician to get up and apologize for a mistake that they've made, as opposed to trying to justify that mistake over and over and over again, or say that mistake was never a mistake. I'm waiting for someone to get up and say, I've made a mistake. Chatati la Hashem. I was wrong. Tzadka mimeni. They were more right than I was. I see that now. I'm sorry. Wouldn't that be an amazing day? The days of Mashiach.